Hello, everyone. I'm Sheila Folk, CEO and founder of Travel Industry Solutions, and I am so excited to have one of my favorite people here, Jonathan Morris, who is the owner of Legato. Legato is a host agency that has been rapidly growing around the United States. We just had a chance to talk about all of our growth. And actually, Kristen is new to Legato. We were talking about adding people. I mean, just needing to add more people to our team to serve this amazing market and all of you wonderful travel advisors. So welcome, guys. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us here today. Yeah.
So, you guys have a really unique model because you're not affiliated with a consortia. So, can you just tell us a little bit about Legato, how you came about, and how you made that decision not to associate?
Yeah. Legato is born out of Legato Travel, which was a retail agency, family owned and operated. My father and I are the principal owners of Legato. Mom's in there too. So the Morris clan, if you will, owns the joint. And we started Legato Travel in 2013 because we knew we had to get me up to speed coming new into the industry on how to run a host. So in 2018, we actually opened up Legato, being the host agency side, and then switched from being a retail shop to a full host. We took a year off. So my background is project management and production, stuff like that. So very methodical and calculated. So what we did in 2017 was just look at the industry and all the players and what they provided, the pros and cons, and just figured out like what's in the best interest of agents today, and how do we then modernize and with maybe a better business model um, to grow the industry and do our part to do that. So in 2018, we opened up as Legato, and we operate as our own consortia. So there's this idea floating around that because we're not consortia affiliated, our agents don't get the consortia benefits. And that just isn't the case anymore. So um, we have traveler perk programs. So some of those virtuoso level benefits we have in-house without the control factors, the cost associated with it either. So we operate as our own consortia, as our own host. We have our own tech team, our own development. We have our own tech platform, I should say, our own development team. So we brought the technical in-house. We brought the supplier relations in-house, which is what Kristen does for us down there, and does a great job there. We bring the training in-house. We bring the marketing in-house. And then we have a really strong partner network. And TIS is a part of that strong partner network of different elements that we don't want to touch, like legal and compliance and all that stuff that I don't want to get anywhere near. We outsource to TIS and are grateful for what Sheila's building over there. So um, we wanted to create an all-in-one business model for our agents that serves them and gives them the freedom to use whatever tool they need when they need it as their business evolves and grows. Whether new to industry or if you've been around for 20, 30 years, doesn't matter. We got a robust toolbox to meet your needs wherever it's at.
Well, I know one of the things that I've been told from our customers and from others inside of the industry is you guys have a really unique training program. I know, talk in the industry amongst advisors is, what kind of training can I expect out of my host agency? I really need some more practical, step-by-step guidance. And I know you guys are looking at training very differently. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So we identified when we dismantled the industry back in 17 and figured out there's three major things in the industry that were lacking. And one of those things was training. We just felt like it was very cookie cutter and it didn't um, help create this kind of business owner mentality that ultimately we think is the future of the industry. So we train and teach our agents that you're business owners first. You just happen to work in the travel industry. So what does it mean to operate a travel business and be a travel professional? The nuts and bolts, everything around it. We have specialty training. So we have what we call our life cycle, and that is basically it's the sales cycle of every trip, right? Master the life cycle, chances of being successful are high. Then how do you take that life cycle and adapt it to ocean cruising and river cruising and FIT and stuff like that, and taking that nuts, taking all the practical, making it nuts and bolts, and being able to apply that in practice from day one. We have a agent development manager on staff as well. And she does a great job putting our training courses together, building our help center, our FAQ, if you will, and
Mhm.
really just devoting a lot of time and attention to make sure that our agents have the support they need. And then, of course, if for some reason we don't have something built or something's lacking, then you have access to the staff as well. So whether that's coaching, we do one-on-one coaching with our agents. That's free of charge. We do open mics. I do an open mic every week where agents can just come in and blast me with questions, and the staff will chime in and all that good stuff. So um, it's
I
really
love that.
robust. Yeah,
That's a really great, that's a really, really, really great and unique approach because, as some of these organizations grow in size, it becomes a little more challenging to implement
yeah,
um, stuff like this for the advisors and
mhm,
having, that ability to communicate with you on a regular basis is so important. I know inside of TIS, when was it? I don't know, earlier this year, we implemented one-on-one onboarding and then we
mm,
implemented 15-minute call segments. So if you have a question,
nice.
you can just schedule a 15-minute call and it has us on a round robin, everybody inside of the company. So
Yeah,
depending on when you book will depend on who you get, but
mhm,
you get to have that face-to-face
yeah,
time to ask questions. And it doesn't even have to be about a legal document. It could be a
mm,
business question. And a lot of the questions that
Hmm.
we get are business in nature. They just
yes,
think that it might be legal.
yes,
And it's really a
100%.
business. Yeah.
And
It
I,
really
I'd
is,
like
and yeah,
to chime in a little bit on that too. The one beautiful thing also about our open mic, not only do our agents get on and ask Jonathan questions and build a relationship, but we have a lot of agents that come every single week and it builds a community with our Legato agents. We have
mhm,
agents who get together, they meet with suppliers, I mean, the community around Legato is really a priceless piece of this host agency.
Well, the
mhm,
community is so important, I think, because each agency is so unique. And, each person
mm,
is at a different stage in their journey or their career or business ownership. And so being able to leverage the knowledge and
mhm,
expertise of other advisors inside of the network, I think is hugely valuable.
yeah. It is, and that's how our business training is really built. The first thing we want to do is just give you, here's a rough business plan. And it's not a business plan you're going to go take to a bank and get financing. It's nothing crazy. It's just basically what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where are you starting today? Where do you want to go? Like you're helping us define what success looks like to you. And
Mhm.
then we're meeting you wherever you're at and just saying, okay, now let's collectively and collaboratively work together and meet that agent's goals. We're not the ones setting the goals because you're absolutely right. Each owner is unique, as is their business.
Mhm.
We see that time and time again with our agents. And to Christian's credit, you can't join Legato without talking to either myself or Bill. So you're going to talk to the owners of Legato in your exploration calls with us. Um, we do a phone call with every agent inbound into Legato because we do want to see, are we a good fit? If we're not, we're going to be honest and just let you know because we don't want to waste everyone's time. And then B, just build that community and that camaraderie that you do have access to the ownership of Legato. And it is one of the core tenets that we've identified. I do get this question. I got it at our last conference of how big do you want to take Legato? And my
Mhm.
answer was, I don't have a number in my head, but at the end of the day, I won't lose the soft touch. We cannot lose it because that is one of the hallmarks that we've established in our organization in addition to the standard stuff like the 90/10 for everybody, no fees and no monthly or annual fees. Everyone gets the same access, the same support, the same training. um,
Mhm.
we truly believe in treating people fairly across the board and not looking at them like numbers or you have to earn a commission increase or you have to earn through sales quotas and you're trying to build a business with a gun to your head is what it feels like. It's like that's not the way to go because maybe some folks need to marinate and they have to just soak it in for several months until eventually the light bulb clicks in. and they've been some of our best agents. Well, how foolish of me to think that we should blow them out of the water early, and then we lose talent in an industry that really, really needs talent. You know,
Well,
new blood coming in.
we do need talent, and I can tell you that there are some larger hosts that are literally churning like 30% of their advisors every single month. And while they may be big, they're always chasing new advisors, and it just kind of dilutes, the business. But I will say that there is only one other host that we have worked with that takes your approach in interviewing every single person, because it does create the connection, and they've been around much longer, but they have seen so much better quality of advisors, and they have the human touch and the connectivity. And again, it's like there's no goal to be the biggest, it's to
Yeah.
really cultivate and support the very best in the industry, and have a culture inside of the
Yes.
organization that's really meaningful. I always talk about
Hmm.
tone at the top, and it is so true. Tone at the top, it trickles down throughout your organization. And
Yeah.
I hear nothing but glowing reviews about what you guys are doing. And I don't say this just because, you and I work so closely together on other stuff outside of the agent piece of
Hmm.
this. But I'm telling you right now, it is unbelievable the amount of the number of people who give us feedback and how amazing it is.
Well,
So I'm
thank you very
really
much.
excited for
Yeah.
you, because I love your
Yes.
dad and I love you,
Yeah.
and you
Absolutely.
know,
We have a good thing going. And it's like, and I'm excited because I hear where you're going. I see where you're going enough. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Somebody took care of that piece of the puzzle in the industry that was massively lacking. We had this big black hole, and it's like, oh my goodness. Like the lack of compliance and standards, I'm going, that's gonna bite so many agencies in the butt. And we can't hurt the travel agents in the industry anymore. We need to actually start modernizing this industry as a whole and saying, enough of is enough when it comes to this idea that we've always done it the same way. It's like, well, business has changed. Whether or not
well,
people want to acknowledge it, it needs to change, and the industry needs to adapt to it.
100%. And so, we have things on our roadmap that I think will be changing for the industry.
Mm.
And as long as people, readily want to hear that not so sexy stuff that
Yeah.
we deal with. But I
Yep.
will tell you that I did tell you we're bringing on another in-house lawyer, and we're going to
Hmm.
start having monthly um, Q&As with her.
Oh yeah.
So
That's money.
you'll get to submit your questions and ahead of time, and then we'll have ongoing dialogue. And it won't just be around, what do I need in my terms and conditions? What we'll be talking about cyber compliance,
Hmm.
the whole this $1 billion fraud as a service industry that's been built in the underground.
Yeah.
um, we'll be talking about all things risk related. And I say risk
Yeah.
because that encompasses so much, it's such a broader spectrum
Correct.
of issues.
It's not the sexy thing, but it keeps your doors open. So you
Yeah.
have to deal with it. And that's the key. And I think not a lot of agents understand the risk in the industry because generally speaking, the industry it hasn't, it's kind of, I won't say it's been a taboo topic, but it just hasn't been one that's been really fleshed out to the surface. And I think TIS, y'all have done a really good job of fleshing that out, getting it on the surface and making sure that agents are protected. So then when they're working with their host and we're linked up and everything's going well, like we're collectively working together to make sure that that agency is protected and being taken care of. Um, and everyone stay in their lanes and bringing excellence to what they do.
Well, and I think that you guys understand that so much more because you own your technology. And so you understand risk exposures around technology. Tell
Oh
us a
yeah.
little bit about the tech that you've developed. And I know you've integrated now with
Mhm.
another big um, provider inside of our industry, which is really
Yes.
exciting.
So Yeah, we built our system called Montis. We're all about Latin here. So legato is the Latin root word for legacy, obviously family owned, and then we're from Colorado, so mountains have to be in there. So Montis is the Latin root word for mountain. So if people ask, I just throw it out there. It's like evidently we're Latin. That's how we roll nowadays. But
Wait, I thought you were living in Georgia now.
no, actually now I'm in Illinois. I'm wearing a Georgia shirt, so I just keep throwing curveballs your way, and I'm looking to move to Colorado again. So you'll have to ask me where in the world I'm at, and I'll let you know. How about that? So,
Okay,
um,
okay.
but so Montis is our system, and it really it's a robust tool. So we've got our agent community in there, we've got our supplier data, our commission trackings in there. We do integrate with Turn as well, and wrapping up some of the loose bugs right now that we're squashing right now, but that integration's solid. And then we've already had dialogues integrate with Travefy as well, pull in sales data, and start legitimately getting rid of however many administrative burdens that are on the agent's plates. We've
Mhm.
got task and program, we've got all sorts of crazy stuff in there. You can run your agency from Montis, and just like every other tech platform, it's living and breathing like a person and is constantly being updated and analyzed for future development. But one thing I am super stoked that we rolled out actually this week. When we came in the industry back in 2018, post paying on a weekly basis was it was not a common thing. It was almost unheard of. And we came in, we said, forget this. We want to make sure the agents are getting paid as quick as humanly possible. So we're going to pay you weekly via ACH, not even check. And then we
Mhm.
noticed, okay, after several years, okay, now other hosts are now starting to figure out, okay, maybe we should pay our agents weekly. I'm like, well, yeah, let's start there and get them money quickly. We're taking that a step further, and we did that this week, and that is we're actually proactively paying our agents. So if a supplier gives us the money in the report, and we've got enough data to pay our agents, if they don't report the sale in Montis to us for some reason, whatever reason, we're proactively paying them. So we're not going to penalize them and say, look, you didn't put it in our system, too bad, so sad type of deal. No, if it's not in there and we have the data to pay you, we're paying you right off the bat. And you don't even know about it. You'll just get a notification saying, cha-ching, you've been paid by Expedia Tap, and off you go. Um,
Wow.
so as we get good,
That is huge. I'm telling you, that is really big because having to reconcile my commissions to the
oh,
penny,
jeez.
and I've seen that across so many organizations. And I get it, it's it's a lot to manage.
Hmm.
But this is another advantage of being with a family-run host agency
Hmm.
who is just looking at the industry differently and the
It is.
needs
Yeah.
of the advisors.
Yeah. And it's not too far ago. Within a decade, we were a retail shop. I was the one doing all the commission tracking and reporting. And so it's like, I'm acutely aware of how annoying that is on a daily basis. Okay. And we want to do everything we possibly can to make sure the agents are the best compensated and the fastest compensated in the industry. So that's why all of our agents get a 90-10 split. You can't earn it, you can't buy into it. And we're not going to treat you any differently because you have 2 minutes of experience or 20 years of experience. I don't care. And we're not going
Mhm.
to do the leaderboard. We're not doing any of that stuff because what I care about are the practices of being a long-term successful business owner, and then success follows. We play the long game. That's how we've grown to where we're at today. Um, and then we
How
took
many
it another
advisors do you guys have now? Do you want to let us know, or is that
a tick under 800. So I just
wow?
checked it. So we did that in 7 years, and we actually just hired a marketing person 60 days ago. So we've done that without marketing support outside of COV and Wonderlust, the great crew over there.
Hmm.
We have done it all organically. We built it from the philosophy if we have a good product, people will naturally come to it and talk about it. And that's where we're at today. So haven't even we've been told we're the best kept secret in the industry, and it's like great, let's just stay there and be happy with that. um, but back to that future, the development is we believe in operating transparently, so we actually rolled out what we call our lost and found. So for some reason we can't reconcile that commission, it goes into our lost and found. It's like we want to pay the agent, so go out there. If an agent can claim that commission and say, hey, I put the wrong confirmation number in, or whatever, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what it is. Go out there, claim it, you get paid literally within minutes. We're done.
Wow.
So it just is so quick and easy. We're trying to do everything we can to remove that administrative burden, but then also work with our supplier partners. So we have suppliers that don't give us a lot of good data. We're giving them the feedback that here's what we need to better support the agent community. And I hope other hosts are doing the same thing as far as, if we're not getting good data from a supplier, the best thing we can do collectively is start advocating for our agents and making sure that suppliers start giving us good data so we can take care of our crew. And one of the few
Well,
areas I'll agree with our competition on. So
I will tell you, Jonathan, that that was a topic of discussion at the PATH meeting, the Professional
good.
Association of Travel Hosts, which is made up of suppliers and different hosts. And it was very, uh, very much discussed at length. And, I had a chance to talk to some suppliers after the fact. There's no uniformity. It makes it challenging,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
um, I think that's why some of these organizations end up with bigger accounting teams than they want, because
correct.
some of it's driven from that supplier side. So they talked a lot about how do we fix this? How can we make things a little more uniform without anybody having to go in and rebuild their technology? Because some people would speak up, well, just everybody just go in and build your technology this way. And it's
And
like,
I'm like,
no, you
okay,
can't do that.
no,
First of all, that would be a monster project to build to everybody's specs, but just the cost alone to rebuild your technology, each supplier to rebuild theirs would be ridiculous. But it is a
yeah,
challenge. It's huge.
it
Yeah.
really is the fragmentation of the industry and varying degrees of data quality make it hard. And you know what it's like to run a engineering team, and you're like, oh, just rebuild it, and you're going, what? Like, no, that's
Yeah.
not an option. We will adapt, but we are not rebuilding jack squat here. Just can't
Oh, I
do it.
know.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense. So we're doing our part to have our voice be heard, making sure that we're trying to get good data and be transparent across the entire ecosystem, from agent to supplier to Legato to our partners, and just saying, if everyone's doing their job and bringing excellence to what they are good at, then we all win at the end of the day. And the customer wins. It's a win-win-win for the host, the partner, the supplier, the agent. Like, we have to be focused on that traveler. We have to be focused on doing everything we can to make sure the travel agent has the tools necessary, the training, the resources, the somebody to play therapist with them when a customer beats them up. And it's like, do I really want to do this? And you're like, yeah, hop on a call. We'll play counselor with you real quick. Celebrate the highs, be there to pick you up on the lows,
Mhm.
the whole nine. So that's my spiel.
So is Kristen, are you starting to travel quite a bit to meet with a lot of the
Mhm.
suppliers and,
I
find
am.
find new ones?
I am actually, yes, traveling on both of those accounts coming up. And one of the things that's been just really fun about my position is we have, a lot of FAMs that we're doing throughout Legato, and just spending that time with the agents as well, learning alongside them. One of our most common questions, or a common question in our open mics each week, are, I have this client who came to me. I've never sold this location. What supplier
Mhm.
do I go to? And it's been really great for me just to learn and get to know our suppliers, maintain great relationships with them, so that I can say, you know what, call this BDM. I just met with her last week. She
Hmm.
offered to help. Our relationship with our BDMs, with our suppliers, is so good, and they're so supportive that we just are able to give so much to our agents because of those relationships, that it's just been really, really great for our agents, and really fun for me to come alongside, and we always say, get the right agent with the right client to the right supplier is our goal, and just let everybody then go and do their best, have excellence. We don't
Mhm.
have any preferred suppliers. So any
Mhm.
supplier that's within our network, which we've, established, like we said, accounting with them, we have are ready for reporting, etc. Um, our agents can use. So we, again, are not dictating as a host company what our agents are doing. They are their business owners. They know their clients. They have qualified them. They are professionals. And it's, in our opinion, it's not our job to then walk in and say, you have to book through this supplier. You need to go here. This is preferred. That's going to be up to
Mhm.
them because ultimately they're professionals and they're the business owner.
Yep.
That's great because there are some that do, you know, lean toward that, I would say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But do you have a listing of all of the suppliers that are currently, set up with you guys from an accounting standpoint so they could start to find some of those suppliers?
We do. So
Absolutely.
we actually have a showcase that we developed, and it's unique to Legato. Part of having our own tech and our own development as we get to do those things, which is really nice. And
Hmm.
it helps educate them a little bit on the actual supplier. So in that showcase, they can pull up the supplier. They get to see what their commission is. They get to see, information on the supplier. They get to know if we've done any recent webinars. That's another thing we try and do, 2 webinars a week with suppliers for our agents where they can just pop in. And I always ask our suppliers to leave that live question and answer time at the end. And they do. They do answer questions, then we record those and save them. So we have a lot of
Hmm.
training resources housed right within our development, right within Montis, for our agents to go reference. And um, as our agents are asking us questions, then we are trying to target those webinars. So we're not just having random webinars of suppliers come in. I had an agent just yesterday say, Kristen, could you reach out to, this supplier and see if they do a webinar specifically on groups? And so I'm able to go to our BDMs and say, hey, we have someone asking for this. Could we do a webinar on you walking our agents through how to open a group? What's the difference between a contracted group and this group? And so we are in real time trying to meet our agents' needs with those day-to-day skills of what they need
Hmm.
for their business. And I think that's something in this industry that hasn't always been met. I loved when you talked about having your attorney come in and answer those live questions,
Yeah.
because that I think sometimes is a missing piece in our industry is I need my day to day, I need this question answered. And if you are
Hmm.
an agent with a huge host company or you don't have a great community, how do you get those day-to-day questions answered? How do you get that little bit of hand-holding help? That soft
Yeah.
touch piece is really important.
Well, we do have group bundle products now. So next time you guys do anything around groups, we've
Yes.
just been a little bit slow on really promoting it, but we have the only
Nice.
group contracts in the space. So real terms and conditions around groups. And while there's a
Beautiful.
lot of synergies between an FIT terms and conditions, there are some vastly different clauses that protect you in the event of things like what happens if somebody books their own air and my group minimum
Mm.
hasn't been
Hmm.
met? Who's responsible if the group gets canceled? There are lots of little details, little nuances around groups. And so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
launched those. We'll be doing some more promotion around that. And then once Nicole is on board, we can have some discussion around that as well. And also destination weddings.
Nice.
Ours comes with the contract between the bride or the wedding couple, I
Hmm.
should say, and the agency. What does that relationship look like? And then
Hmm.
what are the terms and conditions for all of the
Mhm.
guests that are attending?
I
So,
love that. That's
so
really good. That's an area that can bite
Mhm.
you in the butt so
Oh
quick
yeah.
and
huge.
bad.
And we worked with a huge bridal consultant association. When we develop new product inside of TIS, a lot of it's driven from our customers, and then we'll work with people who are heavy in that space. They'll work with our legal team, and we'll go through multiple rounds of revisions to make sure we're touching on everything and then building guidance around it. So next
Hmm.
time you guys do anything around groups or weddings, we would love
Yeah.
to participate. So I want to know, we have a few more minutes left.
Sure.
What's next for you guys? What's on the horizon?
Well, we'll take over the world first, and then we'll go to, yeah,
Okay, we'll
start
do it
there. So
together.
we'll do it together. There you go. So
Yeah.
next, we'll get you on a partner webinar. We just started that partner series actually this month. So starting with Suitcase Designs over there, Justin Hinkle.
Love
So
him.
we'll be sure to get TIS represented in Legato as well. Um, Future development, we have our supplier showcase, but we're not happy with it. Of course, got to challenge yourself. So we're actually coming up with a new product, and it's going to answer the question: right customer, right supplier at the right time. Normally, as you know, that can take hours or days worth of research and whatever. We're going to take that down to seconds or minutes. So we're developing that right now. It's about half baked. So that should be coming out here in the coming months. So really excited for that. We do have our
Mhm.
conference coming up in April, of course. Uh, so we have that coming up around the corner. And then we will be actually doing our first trade event as a crew, going to the TA Forum in
Ah,
Vegas. So
you
we'll be sure to
decided to
say
do it.
hi and
Yeah.
drop
Hmm.
in. But we have a lot of development happening. We're focused on really enhancing the user experience and went through a rebrand. So now we're installing the rebrand, of course, to in our systems and all that good stuff. So really working hard on making sure that the administrative burden that falls on agents, that using the right technology to lift those burdens at some key points. That way you're staying fresh when you do need to have that soft touch. Um, it's being very strategic with it. And that's one of the things that Legato was built on is leveraging technology so that we can keep our staff headcount low. We support almost 800 agents with like 7 of us and some
Wow.
support crew. So we
That's
are
fantastic. You guys are
lean and
super
mean. So
optimized. Yeah.
yeah, and we're getting better every day. So um, we're very proud of that. We don't have to have a bloated staff. We don't have to charge fees and other things like that. So we can make sure everyone's making good money across the board. So
Well, it's interesting that you touched on optimizing some of the things that you have and creating clearer pathways because that's what we're trying to focus on right now too.
yeah.
We have so
Yeah.
many assets, hundreds of assets, and sometimes people don't know where to start. So creating,
Mm,
the legal launch kit, the client onboarding launch kit, and really just referencing the resources that we have inside of our platform and then pulling in people like for like the marketing launch kit, here's who
hmm
you go to, Justin at Suitcase Designs. You have this resource, you have that.
Yeah.
All of these resources inside of TIS tie to marketing, and here's how you can use them. And, that's a huge
Yeah.
project in itself. I think that
Yes.
the advisors sometimes don't fully understand how much time and effort really goes into that. And on top of just developing
hmm
the product or the kit or the pathway, the technology piece, building the technology around that is massive. Because something can break if you introduce new code. You've got to test, test, test. You change one thing over here and you don't realize that it impacted this one little tiny thing that was like a needle in a haystack to find.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. We call it killing monkeys. It's like the monkey with the wrench and whatever machinery. I'm like, we're just hell bent on killing the monkey, getting it out of there. Be like, but you're right. You do something here and you just wait. It's like I've tested this ad nauseum on the dev platform. It goes live. There's always a bug, and you're going, where's the bug? Just where is it popping up? And just whack-a-mole is all you're doing. So
Yeah. Well, we
yeah.
changed to a new subscription management platform
Mm,
in May, and we had been building it out for about 8 months. And there are things that have been introduced, and it's always like the same customer that is affected, and it's because it's not a widespread issue. It's even harder to find,
yeah. Yeah,
the
it is.
issue.
It really is. Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's just like you go, oh my God, please, oh, it's been
It is.
quiet for a few weeks. Please let nothing else be introduced. And
Absolutely.
it's just part of it. So,
It is. It's the industry is the Wild West. There's so much, there's good data, there's fragmented data. So I love it because you get to make, you have this vision in your head and you can make it a reality.
Mhm.
It takes a lot to make that a reality though. And we enjoy it as it's just this big game of like, okay, fragmented data. How can we pull all the parties together? To me, it's just one big chess game of like, okay, how do we do this? How do we get this vision out there in a way that people will actually consume and use? That's the key is I can build it all day long, but if it doesn't work or isn't easy to use or attractive, then
Well,
waste
well,
touching
we
it.
need to talk about an integration with you guys so that you
Hmm.
guys can leverage our fraud scoring. So,
Yes, yes, because we're actually going to run our onboarding through you once we get that squared away.
but we
That's
already
coming your way.
have a roadmap that we've presented to Travify, and it
Mhm.
could very well work. It could work quite well inside of Montis, and all of the transactions can be pushed through our vault with scanning without leaving Montis.
Ooh, I like that. See, integrating with the right people. I don't, This is something that agents I don't think fully understand unless you're on the technical side is you don't want to bring your technology too far backwards. I'm not willing to open up Montes to legacy systems that haven't been updated in a
Mhm.
decade because it's the amount of risk there is just astronomical. You know,
A hundred
we're
percent.
we're only going to go backwards a little bit. Like we will not go backwards much. It has to be a modern solution because we need, again, risk management and liability and all that stuff is no joke in this realm, and it does take a lot of players pulling together to execute the vision. So yeah,
It does.
love to have
A
that
hundred
dialogue.
percent. 100%.
Yeah,
So, well, listen, you guys, it was so great to have you here today, and I always love chatting with you. I love hearing about your growth, your wins. I love hearing from all of your members who are members of our company. And,
hmm
it's just so exciting to see you guys continue to grow and gain recognition inside of the space. So thank you so
Well,
much
thank
for
you.
being here.
So yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
Sheila.
having us.
All
Really
right,
appreciate it.
well, we're going to place this on our YouTube channel for replay, so everybody can take a look there, and y'all have a great rest of your week.
Sounds good.
Thanks. You too.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Uh-huh.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.